clear. So there we are. Now, that was about 100 yards, something like that. And yeah, it wasn't quite as perfect as I'd have hoped. You see the exit wound just there, the entry wound about there. It's a little bit far back, so it sort of nicked the top of his guts and the top of his kidneys. I mean, he still went down within like 30 yards or so, but not perfect. But I put that down, to be honest, shooting from the high seat. I definitely need to get more practice in at doing that, because it's definitely quite tricky in comparison to using sticks or the bipod. But nonetheless, he went down. Nice young buck. You can see he's still got his velvet on his antlers here, and yeah, he was a good game animal. I don't know how well all the footage has come out. And the only reason I say that is because I had a bit of a surprise, because as I was walking down to go and collect him, or not collect him, find him, because he ran on, for, I said, for about 30 yards, I heard this bloke go, "Oi!" And I'm thinking, oh shit, what's that? So this guy meanders down, comes up to see me, and it turns out that I was about 100, maybe 200 yards off-piste. So, because the trouble is, on the permission I've got, obviously I can shoot in all the fields and so on, and I can shoot in the wood, but only a section of the wood belongs to that farmer. The rest of the wood, well, the forest, belongs to another estate. And the reason I've made the mistake is the other guy who shoots up there had put the high seat, his high seat, on the other guy's land. So, of course, I saw the high seat. I thought, well, okay, that's fine. But he shouldn't have put that there, apparently. But it was cool. The guy, you know, he knew my dad. He knew the guy whose land I shoot on. His son-in-law I grew up with. It's like that, really, in the sort of country community, especially with farming, is that everyone knows each other. So he was cool. It was like, oh, yeah, okay, you know, it's an honest mistake, you know. And I was just like, I'm really sorry. You know, I know exactly where the barrier is now, and I'll be careful. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. And he said he might actually even have some shooting for me in the end. So it was cool. It was cool. What wasn't so cool, which is the one thing that a lot of you guys probably don't see so much with shooting deer, is that you shoot it, and then which is, you know, cool. You grollock it, which isn't too bad, doesn't take too long. But then you've got to drag the bloody thing. I had to drag that about a mile, about a third of a mile through the wood as well. And so, yeah, that ain't fun. I mean, he's a youngster, but he's still got to weigh a good 50 pounds or so. So, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to pop round in the morning, and hopefully I will get the skin off him with my dad. So, watch this space. He's a muscular beast.
Yeah.
Do you want me to help you pull down?
No, it's all right.
but it's a beautiful profile. The bevel is like absolutely like mathematically perfect. Do you see what I mean?
No. What's mathematically perfect?
Well, it's like if you sharpen a blade like yourself, well, you know, I mean, unless you're good at it, but you know, if it's me, I won't get the bevels perfectly symmetrical. When I sharpen, especially with my Spyderco sharp maker, you'll tend to have one bevel slightly steeper than the other. Yeah. Which is fine. It works perfectly for me.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No, that's why it's so good for me, because it works. It makes it like almost like a razor blade. But that is like perfect, like absolutely perfect.
It's incredibly sharp, that knife is.
You just cut down there, didn't you? Breaking through the pelvis. Would you give it to me? I'll chuck it in the compost.
Oh, go on then. Yeah. Right, that's nice and tidy that is now, yeah?
Just chuck them in the compost heap. You what?
You kick my whole chap over.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
Get them bits and put it in there.
Why not just put them in the compost heap?
No, well, I'm going to put the skin, I'm going to skin that. Yeah, the skin's got to, might as well go in here, that, and put it in the bin, the wood bucket. There it goes, look.
Yeah. You chop me at the edge of it.
Just cover him up and let nature take its course. It'll take a month or so.
Yeah. Chops are good.
Yep. They're good. I mean, that knife is for skinning purposes. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
because there's no point on it. See, you can just.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I noticed you were using that more than you were using the big one, really.
I was, but this is a tremendously sharp knife.
Well, it's great for when you need to do, like cutting his head off, or when I had to drive a hole through the bottom of his rib cage just to get the water to drain out.
Well, yeah. It cuts like mad. In fact, I would say it's too, it's too sharp, because the point is if you just knife it off the pelt, the point nicks the flesh. Well, this don't, you see?
Yeah, well, a lot of skin
pokes in and then cuts it there.
Well, a lot of skin is like the Eka that you got there. It's more rounded.
Yeah.
But that is handy. It's a trade-off, really, because that is really handy for piercing. So, like when you're hanging it up and you need to pierce through its.
It's a pretty knife, and that is a really wonderful thing. I love that.
Yeah.
Tell your man who made it, it's a good tool.
Yeah, well, Peter will be pleased, because that was the first cutting hook he's made. So
is it?
Yeah, he's never made one before, and it was like an experiment.
And it's larger on the end. Look, you see, that protects the flesh.
Yeah,
when you're putting it down.
Yeah. It's a good tool.
A wonderful knife. Yeah. There we are then.
All right. So that's all skinned and hosed out and ready to be butchered. My dad wants to hang it for a day, and then he's going to butcher it tomorrow. So that'll be going in my freezer, or his freezer, and we'll be eating that for quite some time. I've actually got some back straps to take home from the last deer I had, so I'm going to be eating that in the next day or two. But yeah, it was great. My only thing I feel a bit annoyed about is that, as I said, I did shoot it a little bit further back than I'd have wanted, so it did kind of pierce the top of the guts, which makes a bit of a mess. But you know, as long as you get it back and get it hosed out pretty quickly, you know, it's not the end of the world, really. In terms of the knives, my dad was very impressed. I must admit, for in the field, having two big knives isn't overly practical. I think my Eka for the Grollock is probably the order of the day, really. But for once you get back and you need to skin, these are amazing. They really do the job well. This particularly, I know Peter hadn't made one of these before, but the interesting thing is that because it's got a bit of length to it, you can actually end up using it just like as a knife, as well as for the unzipping. So they worked out really well. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. The head is now, as you saw, in the compost heap. So after a few months, when that all rots down, I'll hang it up and peroxide it, and I'll get it mounted. So I hope you enjoyed that. Buck season's only just started, so there'll be more to come. Keep watching.